Part 2, baby. King Tinex the man back. Since the last video did so well, I figured I should start working on another part when I have time. Enough stalling though. All I have to say is remember to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment, and let's get on with part 2. Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, Izuku freezes a sludge villain and goes home to take a hot shower. For the next 10 months, Izuku trains his butt off for the entrance exam. He still ends up going to the same beach as in canon, but his training is different here. This time around, Izuku's training in this involves him getting over his weakness. What he does instead is strengthen the use of his quake and getting used to the cold, build up his resistance to the cold. Well, more than he already did. He ends up creating a couple of new moves, which you'll find out in all due time. But for the most part, Izuku is strengthening the abilities he already knew of with his quake. For example, the ice explosions he created, it was a powerful move in and of itself, where Izuku knew he could make it even stronger than it already was. He knew already that Bakugo would be working to the best of his ability to get an edge up against Izuku. Knowing Bakugo's determination, it encouraged Izuku to continue to go beyond plus ultra each and every time. Izuku would do target practice with some of the junk, as well as strengthening his body. He would shoot ice blasts, make waves of ice, and increase the rate at which he can either freeze the terrain or a single object. He noticed in the beginning that when something was substantially larger than he was, it would take longer for it to freeze completely, sometimes not even completely freezing. It originally took him about 5 minutes to just freeze something of a significant size, which irritated Izuku. He started working on it more and more often, considering how it would be quite a bit of a detriment in fights and situations as a hero. By the time the 10 months passed, Izuku managed to decrease the time from 5 minutes all the way down to 1 minute. Less if he was in a dire situation and pushed himself. More on that later. Anyways, Izuku ends up walking to the school with his heart beating at a rapid rate. Despite his training, he was still incredibly nervous. This was his dream school that he was trying to get into after all. It wasn't like they even had a normal acceptance rate either. It was incredibly smaller than the rest. He only had one chance at getting into the school. If he blew it, there was no other. And Izuku trips on himself. Oh my gosh. I'm done. Yeah. Izuku trips on himself, but before he can shoot ice blasts to force himself back up, right? Someone else intervenes, causing him to float in midair. He tried looking around to see who did that, but couldn't see anyone. Well, that wasn't until a girl around his age with a bob cut appeared in front of him, apologizing for using her quake on him before fixing his position so that he was standing on his own 2 feet again. Izuku waves it off and thanks her for the help because in this story, Izuku can actually talk to girls. Not for very long, because the longer he goes, the more he loses his cool persona and his jittery self becomes more prominent. Izuku still ends up sitting next to Bakugo, like in canon, and Izuku still mutters. He may be a bit of a sadist when fighting, but I don't see why I should change such an important part of his character. I mean, I know you guys waited almost 2 weeks for this, but even I have a heart. Come on. Anyways, Izuku's muttering, like in canon, leads to Ida calling him out for disturbing the others. Yes, I said Ida, because the first letter in his name is a capital I, not a lowercase L. That wouldn't even make sense anyways. And anyone still calling him Lita, please stop. I'm trying to be polite here. That really gets under my skin. Sorry for the rambling. But Izuku does something different in this timeline. He calls out Ida, saying that he's the one who just distracted everybody else with this outburst, something far more disturbing than a relatively quiet spout of muttering, in order to help plan for going about the physical part of an exam. And he also brings up how he did interrupt the instructor too for something he probably was going to already bring up. Ida's speechless due to Izuku's audacity and the tone in his voice. He's about to say something else, but that's when President Mike interrupts, basically saying for Ida to shut his mouth and sit down. He says it like this: "Hey boy, shut your mouth and sit your butt down. No one's trying to hear a debate today." Everybody claps and whistles for President Mike, saying that Ida sits back down in embarrassment, and yes, I'm making that canon. Skip to the physical part of the exam, the part people actually care about, and as soon as President Mike says go, Izuku doesn't hesitate, suddenly sliding on ice. As soon as he sees a couple of robots enter his line of view, he doesn't wait for them to attack first. He doesn't wait for any to even notice him. As soon as he sees them, he doesn't hesitate to destroy them. He sends out a wave of ice that cuts through the robots like a hot knife through butter. Izuku's disappointed with how easily he was able to take those guys down. If all of these guys were going to be like that, he realized he didn't even need to worry. Izuku tries to keep his sadistic tendencies for fighting to a minimum here, since this was something serious. But it was so hard not to break loose. In the monitor room, the teachers are observing several of the potential students for the school fighting the robots. They're amazed with how powerful some like Bakugo were, considering the hail of destroyed robots he just made. But someone notices something. One side glance, and the person makes a full spin around to see our boy Izuku freezing and destroying robots left and right. Using all these different ice abilities as well. One moment, he's taking on a trio of robots with an ice explosion. The next, he pierces through several robots at a time, using ginormous ice spikes. More and more teachers are starting to observe Izuku fighting the robots, and they're losing their marbles. This wasn't even a fight. This was a massacre. Wave after wave of robots, and Izuku practically one-shots them. He makes a whole ice pillar to cover himself, and he makes ice claws. Ice claws! Jumping from his hiding place, Izuku claws down some of the robots. And at one point, some of the teachers could swear he was manipulating his ice to fly. Fly! Or at least descend at a slower rate. Whatever. Principal Nezu sees this and figures now is a good time to send in the 0-pointer though. He wanted to see what this boy would do now. Izuku's breathing heavily from the intense one-sided fight he just had. He feels great right now, but at the same time, he realizes how it's getting kind of difficult to move his arms. He figures it would be good to rest for now. He wasn't counting how many points he was getting from all those robots, but he knew for sure that he at least had a good enough amount of points for UA. He hears some commotion, and then sees a whole bunch of people running from something loud. He doesn't know what's going on until he asks someone. They talk about how it was a 0-pointer and how it was huge. Izuku would have tested himself against the robot, but he already went above his limits for today. He didn't know how much longer he could go on for until he heard a familiar voice with what sounded like a girl begging for help. Something inside of him just spurred him to leap into action, running towards the robot. He grabs the girl from the rubble and places her behind him before he stomps down on the ground and his veins start to pop. And his veins start to pop as the ground begins to turn to ice quickly, reaching the 0-pointer. 45 seconds pass, and the robot's completely frozen in place. Izuku's arms go limp, but he feels so much bliss right now. All that ecstasy he felt just then, he wanted to do it again, but he resisted the urge to do so. Everyone, including the teachers, just looked at Izuku in awe, fear, And there was one thing on everybody's mind. Just how powerful was that kid? After all, look what he just did. Oh my gosh. Anyways, that's part 2, people. I know you guys waited almost 2 weeks for this, but I think it was worth it. Anyways, here's what I need you to do. After you finish watching this video, I need you to go down, like the video, comment, share, and subscribe. That's all I'm asking. I'm not even asking for like a Patreon request or anything. I'm just asking you for those 4 simple favors. And on another note, let me know what you want to see in the story too. Now, do you want me to bring more Alchemy God Kill powers into this? Or not? I don't really care. Anyways, that's all for today. Well, actually, one more thing. I don't know why I keep on stalling you guys, but how should I say it? I'm thinking of doing like other anime. Let me know what kind of other anime you want to see on this channel. Like, I've watched a couple more anime. Like, I want to do Dragon Ball, Black Clover, and all those sorts. Just give me some ideas in the comments on what you want to see, what would interest you, all of that, and we're done here. King Titan X out.